For the South African energy industry to remain sustainable and prosperous, the industry is faced with addressing various challenges related to sustainability, ownership, and transformation. Having been through these challenges ourselves and having developed a very clear understanding of the pressures that face those working in the industry, Petroconnect was founded with the vision of playing a proactive role in helping all players in the industry to join forces and become empowered.
At Petroconnect, we collectively want to be a part of the industry-wide solutions that are required of us all at this time. Our aim is to partner with you as either an aspiring entrant or an established dealer in this fast-paced industry. We'll empower you with the right skills and offer the best solutions to make your business a success. For new fuel retail aspirants, starting out in a new industry can bring with it challenges and uncertainty. Petroconnect is well equipped to show you the ins and outs of the industry, so you can proactively gauge your interest and suitability. For dealers, we can assist with selling their site or finding the right ownership partner. With our comprehensive services in legal, labor, staff training, back office management and accounting, we resolve many challenges a dealer may face.
Petroconnect is a practical, solutions-driven intervention that can help solve and streamline the challenges we are all facing in the industry at the moment. We really believe that only by bringing everyone in the energy industry together can we effectively lead the industry into a more prosperous and sustainable future. Petroconnect, powering the energy industry. Hi, good morning everyone, and welcome everyone. I see there's quite a lot of people already.
Yeah, welcome to you all. We see we're getting lots of ladies on the line today. Eh?
Which is great. Remember, it's Women's Month.
It's Women's Month, and I'm still looking for a wife. Eh?
Can you take more than one?
Oh yeah, you're still looking for a second wife. Eh?
Well, a very, very welcome to all of you, mostly ladies. And I think first and foremost, we need to congratulate all the women in South Africa. I know it's the last day of the month of August. Geez, I think it was quite short. I think this month should actually be like a 60 days month. Yeah, because you cannot celebrate women enough.
But I don't know, Sponello. I suppose if we have to ask your wife, she probably is going to be saying something different and saying, Sponello, you should be celebrating me every month.
Well, she's lucky because she gets, to be celebrated every day. So, yeah, she's a lucky woman. Anyway, so I think just high level, I think for us today is really just to thank all of you for attending and just to welcome you. And also just give you high-level, background on what these Connect sessions are all about.
Absolutely.
So we've done quite a few of these, and they are open to anybody interested in the fuel retail industry, knowing more about fuel retail, the lessons, the inspiration, the do's and don'ts, and pretty much everything that we talk about in these sessions.
I think they've been really insightful because I think it just adds that just little bit of extra about what's going on in the industry, because there's always that little bit of extra, the Q&As that come about, that those questions that also happen that we didn't think about, those certain questions that happen, and I'm sure our ladies that are going to be speaking today are also going to be getting a couple of those questions that maybe they didn't realize they're going to be getting. But I think, it's just we're going through interesting times in this industry at the moment, Sponello, and I think being able to have these Connect sessions are really is connecting with each other.
Absolutely.
As much as it's online, we're in this new territory, this new space of connecting online, which, by the way, we hope to be doing something physically in the not-so-distant future, but being able to just have this Connect community is really something quite special for us, and we hope to just keep growing this, and it is lovely to see so many attendees on the line today, and how this has grown. And yeah, well done to Masachaba that's really led this to grow this this group of attendees and grow this Connect community.
Yeah. So I think before we take too much of your time, and I know you're dying to actually connect with our speakers for the day, I think it's important that perhaps you guys, I think first and foremost, these sessions are free, right? So they're free of charge. You don't have to pay anything to attend these ones. It doesn't mean that every session that we do is free, but this particular one, yes, it is free. And yeah, so thanks to our guests as well that will be coming shortly. But maybe before we, I'm told that our time is up here. The ladies want to take the stand. So how about we go on some commercials, and when we come back, we will hand over to Masachaba, who is going to direct this program.
Absolutely.
Thank you all.
Look forward to today.
Empower yourself with the required expertise and practical experience of the fuel retail industry before you invest. The Petroconnect Fuel Retail Industry Readiness Program provides individuals wishing to enter the sector with practical insights on what it takes to successfully operate a service station in South Africa. Our vision is to deliver a pool of pre-vetted, competent and capable individuals into the dealer network. The Readiness Program provides skill-based training material, assessments and a practical on-site learning approach to equip candidates with an in-depth understanding of what it takes to effectively run a fuel retail business. Candidates undergo a 2-week hybrid program of practical on-site and online-based training. Overseen by trainers and the Academy course facilitators, candidates assume every role in the service station, from petrol attendant to back office administrator to overall manager of the business, equipping them with insight on day-to-day running. The course culminates by assisting candidates to develop a business plan and cash flow projections for their own hypothetical fuel station. The Readiness Program is a one-of-a-kind opportunity to obtain enough information about the industry prior to substantial investments being made. If you are interested in finding out more, you can visit our website at petroconnect.co and start your fuel retail journey.
Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen who have joined us today. We are so excited to be hosting this Connect webinar for you. Really, this is about you guys, the dealers that are out there joining us online, and also the aspiring dealers that want to get into the industry. As Bonelo mentioned, I am Masachaba Mthembu, and I will be directing and facilitating this conversation today. Really, the Connect webinars, what they're about is just engaging not just dealers, but aspiring dealers as well about the different topics that are currently, of hot topic to the society. And this particular one was one to celebrate the women that are currently in the industry, but also to talk about what kind of challenges that women who are currently in the industry are facing, but also what can we look forward to as the ones that want to get into the industry. So today I have with me, I have Unomfundo Mkhabela, who is the dealer at Engine Higginson Highway, a convenience center. And then online, we have Tumi Sekete, who is acting head of retail at Puma Energy. And then we've also got Uzonke Gama, who is a dealer at Engine Curris Convenience Center and Engine Route 21 Convenience Center. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, but I will start with Unomfundo Mkhabela, who's right here with me. Nomfundo has just been over 18 months in the industry. She's a dealer at Engine Higginson, as I've mentioned. It's located, I think this is very important for me to mention for the people that are here in KZN. Engine Higginson is located just off the off-ramp of Higginson Highway. She has and she started as a site manager for different sites, total sites, over the last 10 years, and that is what I guess sparked her interest into becoming a dealer herself. So she has been in the industry for 10 years, and she was appointed 18 months ago, and I will allow her to introduce herself, and yes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is a great opportunity that we have as women to have this platform where we sit and have these conversations. As Masichaba has said, thank you so much for that intro. My name is Nomfundo. I'm a dealer. I've been on my side for 18 months, but it really feels like 18 years, what we've been through last year. But yeah, I'm looking forward to today, and thank you so much for the participation that we see. Right now, we've got a lot of people that are hunger for information that we are going to share today.
Thank you, Nomfundo. And then I'm going to hand over to Zonke Gama. As I've mentioned, Zonke has been in the fuel retail industry for over 21 years. When I was looking at, when she said she's been in the industry for 21 years, I thought, oh my goodness, that must have been like just post-apartheid times. And then I realized it's actually 2001. So it just tells you guys how old I am, I guess, as well. And I didn't think that I was that old. So she has, she's a dealer at Engine Caris Convenience Center and Engine Route 21 Convenience Center. She was born and bred in Swaziland, married a South African man, studied her BCom at the University of Zululand, and she's trained people and advised people in the business, and she applied the same business skills to start her own business. She says her most important and valued titles are being a mother, being a grandmother, a daughter, and an aunt. I'll hand over to you, Zonke.
Wow, I guess greetings to everybody. Thanks to Petroconnect for allowing us to have this opportunity to speak as women. I think Mr. Chaba has said quite a bit. I think I just really just gave myself there in terms of who I am. The business is, I've been in the industry for 21 years, of course. And the main one being in the Pretoria, Engine Route 21, which was the first baby. Started from scratch, like I was the first dealer, and I've been the dealer since then to date. Never looked back. It wasn't easy. And then Engine Caris is located in Roreport. It is 7 years old now, and 6 years old. Yeah. So I've been in the industry quite some time, and I'm an entrepreneur. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Zonke. We're really looking forward to this conversation. And then I'm going to introduce our next guest, Boitumelo Sekete from Puma Energy. Boitumelo is a driven, pink young lady. She's passionate about the fuel industry. Her career spans over 11 years. She's worked in multiple roles in retail network, including retail network development manager, retail business partnerships, dealer relations, transformation manager with her previous employer, BPSA. She's currently the acting head of retail at Puma Energy, and she's looking after all the retail stations in South Africa. I'm very inspired by you, Dumi, I have to say. Please tell us, say hello to our audiences, and yes, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Master Chaba, and I greet all our esteemed guests on the line, and I'd like to thank and extend my gratitude for taking the time out to join this session, and I greet my fellow panel members. I'm inspired by the two ladies who, have got the chutzpah to run a service station. So kudos to you, ladies, and to all the ladies online, and I'm hoping there are also gentlemen on the line. Happy Women's Month, and I hope that we're going to be closing off this Women's Month on a very positive note. There's one of the ladies, I think Mrs. Zonke mentioned earlier on that, she's looking forward to all the information that we are going to share, we're going to impart, which is something that lacks within the industry, which is access to information. So I'd really like to extend my gratitude to Petroconnect, Sponello and Mark. Thank you very much for setting up this platform for allowing, our fellow fuel retailers and those who want an opportunity in the fuel retailing space to come together and actually connect in the petroleum industry and understand what it really takes, what the future looks like, what are the challenges that we're facing currently right now, because there's quite a few of them. How can we navigate and mitigate those challenges? But most importantly, how can we actually broaden the energy sector and look into other opportunities that are going to lend themselves as we evolve? So I'm looking forward to the engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zonke. Yes, that's very true. We really felt that it was important to have this conversation, and we really wanted it to be unscripted and an honest conversation. I think a lot of the times when we attend women empowerment events, the speakers are always, prepared with their speeches, and they'll tell us all the good things about the industry, and we really wanted to capture that, in as much as there is the good, but there are currently challenges that the industry is facing, and as women, as we want to get into the industry, we'll also probably face these challenges, and it's better to always know what you're up against than just going in with a blank canvas. So I'm going to start just to focus on you, Dumi, a bit, so that you can give us, and it's great that your career spin actually includes other oil companies as well, because we know that the energy sector has been driving transformation for quite some time, and for all the priority groups, and women being part of those groups that are prioritized. How much of the transformation drive in the energy sector has benefited women?
Thanks, Ms. Chaba. So the fuels retailing industry is quite a big industry. It's quite significant. It contributes about 8% towards our GDP, which is a total of about 300 billion in rand value. And there's about 4,500 documented retail service stations, about 7,000 with including the smaller wholesalers. So it is quite a big and growing industry. A lot has been done in the past, and we thank our previous leaders who really have taken it by their strides, the likes of Ubab Morris Khadebe, who was quite significant in drafting the Liquid Fuels Charter, which governs, a transformation and how we navigate through this industry that still has, unfortunately, high barriers of entry. So I must say that there's a lot of work that has been done behind the scenes. It may not be much or significant enough, at face value, but behind the scenes, there are so many policies, the white paper, the energy white paper that has been drafted, the liquid fuels charter, as I mentioned earlier on. I think the onus now is up to all the industry stakeholders. I speak of your Department of Minerals and Energy, your DFIs, such as NEF, IDC, your FSPs, which are now playing within this industry. I see the likes of Nedbank and APSA quite, prominent in supporting fuel retailers. And oil companies, there has to be collaboration amongst all stakeholders to ensure that we drive this agenda of empowering women and drive this agenda of transforming this industry. It cannot be a one man's job. An oil company will not be able to achieve it on its own without the support of funding structures and other tools. I mean, we've got training specialists such as Petroconnect. This is a specialized industry, and it may be daunting for a lot of females to gain entry because, again, like I mentioned earlier on, there is no sufficient information that is available of what does it take. I've come across many cases where once a retailer has been onboarded, and then they actually realize what it takes or what is required of them. You have to be on site. It's a 24-hour, business. anything can happen on site. You have to understand it's a very technical business. You have to understand your business. If you don't have fuel in the tank, you must have money in the bank, or vice versa. You have to understand all your controls and systems. So that access of information upfront is probably not there to advise or feed to people, not even just women alone, what it really takes to get into this industry. So I really do believe that in the groundworks in terms of the policy reforms has been there. We just now need to act and ensure that all the policies that have been drafted, we bring them to life. But the only way we can achieve that is through collaboration. All stakeholders need to come together. DMRE, especially being the regulator of this industry, they need to take charge. The oil companies, and I know oil companies are doing so much in their little spaces to drive transformation, but without all the stakeholders playing a part, aligning and collaborating, unfortunately, we'll always have different KPIs. We'll always have different targets that we want to meet, instead of aligning collectively and say, in this industry, how many women, Black African women, are actually participating? How many are owners of businesses? When I say owners, how many own the land, own the business? Transformation from an oil core perspective, unfortunately, is limited to transforming company-owned sites, which we have got 100% control over. The composition of the industry is still largely dealer-owned sites that makes up the industry. Therefore, again, it speaks to other stakeholders coming on board and for us to work together as partners to ensure that from a regulatory point of view, from a license issuing point of view, we strive the same agenda and it cascades down.
Thank you, Dumi, for that. You're speaking about targets, transformation targets that the oil companies will have. When you look at the trends at the moment, what is the success rate of women that have been appointed as dealers in their journey? I assume it's a 5-year journey with an oil company. What has been the trends that you have seen for women particularly?
I have had the pleasure of witnessing women who come in, take the business by its strides, grow it, and build it to successful businesses, what they are today. So fortunately, I have engaged with women are quite resilient. I've engaged with women in my previous life at BP and within Puma Energy, that women are quite resilient. They can stand the fort. Very few exit the industry, and it's because of probably other challenges. But again, there's still very little women in the industry. We still have very little women that are coming in, operating good sites, and understandably so. The market right now is overly saturated. There are opportunities that are there, but the market is overly saturated. But it requires effort. It requires effort from all bodies to say we need to intentionally make space and make room for women to take over and not limit. Look, if we want to be emancipated and liberated, to be seen as equals in our professional beings, therefore, I should be able to say, I can run a site that is located in Tembisa, and it's a 24-hour business operation. And I'm not limited as a woman because the oil company fears that how is she going to be able to cope? Because, at night it becomes dangerous. So I have seen some very good results, one or two that ended up in unfortunate circumstances. But again, the support is very important. Coming into this industry, especially if you don't have the technical knowledge or know-how or access to information, like I mentioned earlier on, it can be daunting. And if the support is not there upfront, if access to information is not there upfront to inform women, to train and coach women what it takes to become a fuels retailer, there should be courses that are available to the public of what does it take to become a fuels retailer, like any other profession. Therefore, a person enters the industry, knowing what is it that I'm going to be faced with. But like I said, the likes of Petroconnect, are there in other training companies who are really doing their level best to provide as much information as they possibly can to all citizens to ensure that they are fully versed with what it takes to be in this industry.
Thank you for that, Dumi. And I think you've touched a few of the challenges that I also wanted to just find out from you. Is what do you think are the top challenges that are a hindrance for women to enter the industry? And I understand you've mentioned the saturation of the industry for one, access to information. But what do you think, as from the perspective of an oil company, what has been the biggest challenge or that hinders women to enter the industry? Because I mean, if we can say we're going to be talking about the fuel retail industry and 80 people join, then why then are they not applying? Are they applying? And where's the gap basically?
I think there's a couple of barriers to entry that have been identified within this industry, and one of them is the funding mechanism. One of them, and that focuses on the valuation of the business, what is required upfront, the key money that you need to pay upfront, your operational costs. So funding does tend to be a barrier to entry. From an oil co's point of view, I could say that with the opportunities that become available, as mentioned, oil cos are able to drive transformation in as far as company-owned sites and company lease sites where they've got direct control in terms of appointing the operator. There's still the perception of a woman should operate a service station located in a particular area. I made an example earlier on that should an opportunity arise in Tembisa, would I put a woman there? And I think those are the limiting barriers that we should remove and give women a fair and open chance, to say, this is the opportunity that is there. Are you willing to take that risk? This is what it takes. This is the area. You would have also done your due diligence in terms of where you're going to be operating and understanding those market conditions. So I think as oil companies, we need to also remove the barrier of limiting women in terms of which areas should we place them, because it's not always the case where opportunities are going to arrive in very well located, safe suburban areas where you find a site is pumping 900,000 liters and you have nothing to worry about, And I think, but most importantly, training is very important, because this is a very technical and specialized industry. And I'm not saying this because I'm in it. I'm saying it because over the past 12 years, it has taken me that long, and I'm still learning every single day. I still cannot sit here and say I know everything about the downstream. It's broad, it's technical. There's so much across the value chain. Therefore, the technical support is very, very important. It is pointless to have funding and not have the technical support or know how to run your business, because that's how a lot of businesses unfortunately don't make it. So again, the likes of Petroconnect are a good example of the kind of support that all oil companies should have in terms of onboarding new operators and making sure that they've got that onboarding facilitation and onboarding process for the first couple of weeks or even months to ensure that, we've got the license to operate, which is a classroom-based training. And that is not sufficient. On-site training is what is important for you to understand how your business actually operates. So I think those are the barriers to entry that once we look into those, we can actually make great strides in driving transformation.
Yeah, true. What you're talking about, Dumi, just it reminds me that we used to talk about, when we talk about transformation 20 years ago is not the same transformation that we are going through right now. For a long time, we were looking to get into spaces. We want Black people to get into spaces. We want women to get into spaces. Well, now we are in the spaces that we wanted to be in, that we should have been in the first place. But now there's still those limiting factors, our safety, all those kind of things, which also just affect the impact of the transformation that the industry is trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
So before we move on to our other panelists, please, Richard, we've got Richard here, who's our technical support and everything else. Please just check for me if there are any questions for Dumi particularly that are currently on the chat. Okay, so while Richard is checking, what do you think, Dumi, is the future of fuel retail for women, especially?
There definitely is still a future in fuels retails. Petrol is a product purchasing, whether it's petrol or diesel, is a grudge purchase. However, because the market is so overly saturated, literally within every 2-3 kilometers you come across a service station, every brand needs to come up with a value proposition of how they're going to drive the footfall into their service station. And because fuel is now a grudge purchase, it's one of those things that you have to do. It actually should be part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because we can't survive without it. We use it for transportation, to move around, whether you use public or private transport. But there's a whole lot more now that, like I said, brands need to come up with their value proposition, such as convenience has taken a huge important role in terms of a consumer customer deciding which brand do I support, which service station do I go to, and the convenience part comes with all the benefits of the non-fuels retailing, such as loyalty, whether it's car wash, all the other non-fuels retailing offers are quite significant and prominent. So those are the things that we have to look into, into the future, that are going to make your brands either stand out or grow your brand. There are some other challenges that the industry is facing or is going to be faced with, such as deregulation of 93. Already we are operating in an environment where diesel is deregulated, and that's why the consumer enjoys the luxury of, pouring diesel wherever it is competitively, competitive for them and makes economical sense for their pocket. And the deregulation of the petroleum product will bear dire consequences to the fuel retailing industry, and purely because it will affect especially the low throughput, the low volume and low margin generation sites. Those may be compelled to shut down because it's going to be an open market, then. So that's something that we need to look closely towards, and hopefully for the economic stability, of this country. I personally hope it doesn't go that way, and purely because the unemployment rate, if we think it's high now, it's probably going to be even worse once deregulation takes place. Those are some of the challenges that we have to look into in terms of the future. Yes, there's talks of electric vehicles. There's a high drive for all oil companies across the globe to reduce their carbon emission, their carbon footprint, and we are being tracked very closely by our regulator, the DMRE. So many meetings have taken place with the BOGs in terms of commitments. When are we driving the reduction of carbon emissions? What are the targets, and by when should we have realized them? And that brings to light so many other opportunities that, I think we can really explore and look into, and not limit women into just fuels retailing. There's so much more across the value chain within the energy sector that we can look into. LPGs on the rise now. A lot of oil companies are working on their LPG strategies. There's another opportunity to get into hydrocarbon. There's just so much solar that we can explore, but focusing specifically on fuels retailing, it will take a different kind of retailer moving forward. It will not be the traditional fuels retailing as we know it, and purely because we are posed with so many other challenges. There's illegal trading of foreign fuels. We have little corporations, wholesalers opening up and selling cheaper diluted diesel to our customers. Those are the challenges that we have to look at. And those are the things we need to come together and collaborate as an industry to say, how can we mitigate them if we want this industry really to still have longevity, and purely because it contributes so much to our economy, it contributes towards decreasing the unemployment rate. So yeah, I think we need to first look at what are the challenges that are posing, that are going to really impact the livelihoods of peoples, of the economy, and possibly shut down some retail fuel sites, and what are the possible opportunities that we can explore into cleaner renewable energies.
Sure, that's quite a mouthful, Dumi, and thank you so much for that. I see Unomfundo is also nodding as you are speaking, because I think what you're speaking resonates so much with her as well. I know we have a few questions that I've seen. We've got a raised hand as well. Can we go to the raised hand while you go through the questions? Hi, Lebohang. Hi, Lebohang. You can ask your question.
Thank you so much, Mas Chawa, and thank you so much, Bitumelo. Nice to meet you. I posted 2 questions. If you can maybe look into the chats. The one was, most of the oil companies, you're able to actually access the applications on their website. Puma is one of them. It does not have that allowance to be able to, go to the website and do as somebody who is interested for that online application. So we're not able to actually, get sight of that, because one does not know who do you actually contact or call if you are interested on a site. Look, let me just put my camera on, sorry, on a site. So I don't know, do we call you, or do we just call the reception office and just ask to be assisted with the retail department? That's the one question. The other one is quite long. What I've noticed is that as a startup, or especially if you're a woman-owned entity, I mean, we have to thank Petroconnect in giving us the necessary tools to trade and the learnings and so forth. But there's only so much they can do. The biggest challenge, as you mentioned, which is an actual barrier of entry, and this is throughout all sectors, is the issue around funding. So a lot of the time, even if you've got a solid business case, most, whether it's women-owned, I find mostly Black-owned entities have a major challenge when it comes to funding. And you may have a business case, you may have Sponelo and his team and the whole army of Petroconnect building you a solid business case. It will be approved, but when you take it to the bank, it gets declined for whatever reasons that they have as a bank. Now, and we know this is a reality. The 4 commercial banks very often tend to decline us with lending. Now, can't the likes of a Puma or similar companies, I just posted an example of a NEF, which is a National Economic Fund, and IDC. Whether you partner with an NEF or an IDC, to see how you can form or ring fence a budget or a loan scheme, whether it's focused to, whether it's women focused or whatever, however you want to do it, having a target group. And the only way it can be successful if that loan or fund scheme can be attached to a mentorship program, so that we don't have challenges, of someone like me, entering this process, getting a fuel station, then in my first year, you tell me, Lebo, it's not working, please go. So we need to partner with what we have at the moment, whether it's an NEF or an IDC or whatever it is, to make sure that we actually grow and build this, these businesses, to ensure whether it's job security and I think grow a progressive market.
Yeah.
Those essentially are my 2 comments. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Lebo.
very much, Lebo, for your questions. I'll first address the first question in terms of the Puma application process. So perhaps just a little bit of background in terms of Puma Energy. I don't want to take up too much time around Puma Energy, but because I work for the company. So Puma is not considered an oil major within South Africa. We are a wholesaler. We do compete with oil majors. And we made our inroads through acquisitions of existing wholesale business. Therefore, we are still in a growth trajectory. We are still building our pipeline, for example, of company-owned sites. Largely, the composition of our network base consists of dealer-owned and company-leased sites. And therefore, as time goes on, as we refine, as we bank the land and purchase existing sites under our own control and ownership, which the pipeline is growing, therefore, it will lend the platform for allowing people to apply to operate on Puma-owned sites. Right now, largely of the sites that we own and operate are owned by their dealer-owned sites, which come with their own operators. But that does not mean we should not look at the platform, because we do have company leased sites where you find a third party just wants to lease the site to an operator, and it lends us the opportunity to find the operator. So you have planted a seed that we need to actually put up that application process up on the website, whether it is functional or not, but as long as it gives you information back that, this is what we're doing, this is what we're in the process of, we have received your application and will be considered for any opportunities that come up. So I will take that, and thank you very much. And then on the second question, I 100% agree with you. Collaboration is a word that, I speak of probably every, hour or so, and purely because it's the only way we can drive success within this industry. There's a third leg. I've once trialed what you're proposing in my previous oil call, and it worked well. However, we have our own processes as oil companies. The National Empowerment Fund and the likes of IDC and Masisi and a fund from Old Mutual have their own qualifying processes for you to qualify for the funding. And then you've got the Department of Minerals and Energy that has also got their own processes. The three need to align, because I can approve you from an oil code point of view. NEF may see merit in your business case and approve you, but the Department of Minerals and Energy may reject it, and purely because we don't evaluate the business the same. So Department of Minerals and Energy does not look at the shop turnover or other non-fuels income as the holistic operation. They look at what is the forecourt performing. Their newly established threshold, I think, for transformation is they do not give retail licenses to Black African persons for sites that are performing below a particular threshold. I think the threshold now is between 300 and 350,000 liters. And purely because historically, when the opportunities arise, Black African people will always get the lower pumping sites. And proper evaluation and due diligence is not being done. What is also critical is oil companies need to take it within their own strides to make sure that they've got a proper valuation process. Valuing the business, what is the profits from the forecourt, what is the turnover on the shop, and other ancillary businesses that contribute towards the performance of the site. How do we then evaluate this particular business and say, this is how much we're putting it up for in the market? Historically, the behavior has been, we don't get involved from a willing buyer, willing seller point of view. But we then realized that when we allow such behaviors, Lebogang is coming in thinking that Mr. van der Berg is selling her a site that pumps 200,000 liters at 15 million rands, and she thinks, that's the correct value. And it actually isn't. So oil companies also have the responsibility to ensure that even though the GMRE has not regulated a valuation methodology, but they do support the EBITDA to the value, I think, of 36 months. So that's what we need to look at. And we do differ depending on which side of the fence you're on. From a retailer's point of view, they want to use the NPV model because it shows the future performance of the site. I use EBITDA because I want to see the historical performance and I can get to a realistic valuation of what is this business worth. So there are so many other things that I think are missing within the different structures that need to collaborate, that they need to develop within themselves, collaborate so that we don't waste an applicant's time in going through this entire process only to find we are actually not speaking to each other in terms of what is the requirement. I pass you through from a Puma point of view. When you get to a funding point of view, then they turn you back. We know that our traditional banks are risk averse, and this is quite a risky industry. So the likes of Nedbank, and ABSA have really taken by great strides to ensure that they get themselves involved, understand the technicalities of this industry, and what are the right instruments that are required to support the retailer. But it requires collective collaboration. It just doesn't stop between the oil company and the funder. Training is also very important because when you've got that debt exposure, 100% unencumbered of 50 million, it is on you. If you don't have the training and the support to run that service station, I am setting you up for failure. So that's another part that really we need to dial up in terms of when we're onboarding a new retailer, it's mandatory. It has to come with that training support for at least 6 months, especially if someone is not from this industry. So I fully agree with you that there needs to be a concerted effort amongst all the industry players to come together and collaborate in order to make new retailers coming in a success.
Wow, thank you so much, Lebo, for your questions and for your answers, Dumi. I think this was quite helpful for all of us. I didn't know about the volumes and that the threshold that the oil companies have. That was quite interesting, and I think also just to commend you as well, Dumi, for pushing yourself to get into these positions where you can make these decisions or at least give the input that supports Black people, that supports women coming into the industry. I know that there's a question or comment about will this recording be available after this meeting? Yes, it will definitely be on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It will be available in 24 hours time. So if you check tomorrow, it should be there. So now I'm going to go to Zonke and Nomfundo, and I'm going to start with the burning question that has already come up. How did you guys get the funding? How did you navigate the funding? Where did you get the money? Especially, let me start with you, Zonke, because you started in 2001. How did you do it? Take us through, how did you get the funding to start the first, to be the dealer at Engine, the first one that you got into?
Wow, firstly, thank you very much for Witumelo for that woman thing there, not only woman thing, but that information and the background, especially from the oil companies. And wow, Route 21 was an interesting site in that it was a site in Pretoria, coming from Durban. That's where we lived as a family, and seeing the business for the first time, having applied, which was one of our biggest mistakes. And getting these funders that are also in business, and their business is me. Their business is my business. So I guess I'm saying quite a mouthful right there, because now you've got the person that's funding you. We've just spoken about NEF, we've spoken about Nedbank, we've spoken about ABSA, and all of these funders. The truth of the matter is those people are in business. And I think for me, that was our biggest challenge when we started Route 21. We did have funding, but the funders were in what? In business. To a desperate Black woman or wanting to get into the industry, and they had positioned themselves as people that were going to be there for the Black person going into business. I hope I'm speaking to people here in the audience that are like kind of really connecting with me right now, because outside this voice and outside this passion that you are hearing, you will not get the gist of what I'm saying. So the funding was a problem. I was funded, but the funding was not to my advantage. And the question that I may want to pose right now to all the funders is, hey, I know you are in business. That's a guarantee you are in business. And I want you, I guess we all are. But the truth of the matter is the funding models that we are coming across are not investor friendly. They are not backing me up. Sorry to say, they are not. Our first downfall in this business was, the honest truth was, funding. We got funding. Where did you get the funding from? From funders. What was the model for the funders? I want my money every month without fail, whether you've banked or not banked. They were I was either in or out from funders. So voila. What do I say to that? What do we really say to that? I think my biggest advantage, and our biggest advantage at that time was, I guess corporate does help a bit, quite a lot, because I was coming from corporate and going into a business. And, you just somehow, just tell as it is and say, you know what, it's a good business. You've invested ahead of growth in this business, and I'm taking the fall for it, and the fact that this was an engine site and owned site by Engine, we were able to talk and say, this is not working, those business cases where you're like, it's a one-page business case, but you're just saying it as it is, and Engine was there to actually back me up and say, okay, what can we do? And they actually came back and kind of really supported me. It was the oil company that made Engine Route 21 to stand today, if I may put it that way. Outside that, I was out.
Wow.
Sponello, your boss, at some point, actually had to come, because I was now thinking, this thing is not working. This business is not working, and I'm not apologetic by having to state that I was young enough to go back to corporate. I did go back to corporate, and I actually got Sponello. Thank you, Sponello, to you, who came at that time. He didn't have a site, who came and managed the site for me. And what was making me go back? It was really because the literage was not there. Luckily, Engine understood that the literage was not there, and understood that the bank or whomever had financed me was therefore going to, lives at stake here. So there was there is I want to say that that the funding remains a big problem. The site was not expensive because it was an Engine site. It was a brand new site. There was you are paying probably just franchise fee to Engine, and that little bit, whatever it was little bit. It was a lot at that time. Now I look at it and think, oh wow, that was a lot of money. But they did support. They definitely did support me. But I want to say this again. Going to the second business now, which is in Raw Report. There you are meeting a different kind of a challenge. Again, the funders are still a consistent issue. Why are they a consistent issue? They're a consistent issue because, again, they're in business. And they are aware that you actually need them to buy a 10 million rands worth of site. I mean, the words business work. And they are happy to assist you. But believe you me, you know, when I actually, at the end of the day, I'm not going to talk who the funder is. When I actually calculated what they in turn received out of this business deal, and funding a business deal and wanting your whole life to be attached to a business that they somewhat believed that it was a profitable business. I think to me, I hope she's hearing me, and I hope Abos Bonello and everybody else is hearing that, you know, you get a funder that says, I believe in you, I believe in your business, I believe in your value proposition, but I want you to actually give beyond this business. I think for me, that's crazy. Is it a business that you really want to fund or not? Is the business profitable in your eyes or not? Or you are seeing me as the person that is profitable, Uzonke, or the Gama family to be, we can take that from them, we can take that from them, we can take that from them, and therefore we are safe. That's how the funders are working. So fund me on the basis of the business being profitable. Don't fund me on the value that Zonke has external from the business that I'm buying. And lastly, I'm not so sure if I think I've just my passion just got big, and I was like, wow, this is just what it is.
Understand.
And, you know, for what it is, you know, and I think one of the biggest things that we're dealing with here is there's no discount from these funders. I don't know, you know, I haven't come across one that says, I'm funding a Black woman, I'm prepared to fund you. How I fund people is I give them prime -1. No, it's like prime +3 because you are Black. Honestly, funders, where are you? What are you doing to us? Why are you killing us? You are available, but at our expense. You get what you want. We have to be insured. We've got to sign surety for funders to actually, at the end of the day, get back their money. Is it about that? Or are we building business? Are we building the society, or are we killing the society? Are we building Black people and Black women per se in this discussion where we're talking about business, Black business people in this oil company? I don't want to me. I actually take a big offense, sorry to say, in me being viewed as like, I wouldn't be Zonke. Zonke is a Black woman. How will she survive in Soweto? What? No, let's get to, is Zonke worth? Can Zonke be worth as a woman, as a person, not as a woman or as a male? Give me a site and see me succeed in a site, irrespective of gender. So, what? Where was I? So the funders, I am saying the funders.
Can I ask you
The funders, I'm saying, can the funders actually come back with a better value proposition that says you are a Black woman, of course. Now I want to use it to my benefit. You are a Black woman. As a Black woman that I want to be sustainable in this business, I'm not going to charge you prime +5, but I'm going to charge you prime -1. Because you know what? The fact of the matter is, the previous owners, which is predominantly white people, they have been given those deals. They have been given a deal of prime minus. To me, I'm sorry, girl, we're here. And we are here. NEF does not say
it's unscripted.
The Black woman is
unscripted.
So much -1. So the funders, for me, I really want them to be in here for real, for what it is worth, not for them to actually be seen to be we out there, we are with you, we are with you. You are not with me until you are able to offer me what you offered the previous person, I'm sorry to say, but predominantly white-owned sites. They were giving them prime minus. Why am I prime plus? I mean, so that's the first barrier and failure. Thank you for your availability and coming here and saying, yeah, we're ready to fund you, Zonke. And what else do? I take it, but at what cost?
Yes.
If it was about funding, I hope I've actually passionately, truthfully, and without reservation given it as it is, told it as it is. We cannot continue pushing things under the carpet just because NEF happens to be a government institution, Nedbank happens to be one of our bankers, ABSA, FNB, whoever they are. They are not yet in the game. We are alone in the field, and that's it. That if it was funding, I would like to end there. But if you want me to go externally, I will go externally. But for now, for funders, I want to say, funders, we have got to be in the field together to score the goals, to make me succeed with you, knowing that I have made Uzonke succeed right from the beginning. But from the beginning, I'm set up to lose by funders. Sorry. Thank you.
Zonke, that's what you're saying. I think we're all feeling it. We all resonate very much with what you're saying. Dumi, you wanted to comment before we go to Nomfundo and hear her story on how she funded her business. Okay.
Zonke, I really, I fully understand and comprehend what you're going through, because I've dealt with so many cases of the similar nature. And my premise is evaluation methodology. By the time we get to a figure of how much you should pay, what the value is for a service station, a lot of work would have been done behind the scenes. And I always go back to the oil companies need to step up. The oil companies need to ensure that by the time we say the site is worth X amount and you're going to borrow that X amount, you have the right valuation that has been done. By the time, especially for a new to industry site, the challenge there is there has not been any demonstrated performance. Therefore, there's not been historical literature that has come through. Now, the challenge there is you are basing it based on a traffic count that we anticipate the site is going to pump 400,000 liters. I know you want to respond. I'm asking you to hear me out with an open heart, because I'm actually agreeing with what you are saying. So once that literature is defined, the floor between, again, oil companies and funders, and it's even worse because it sounds like, were you funded by a traditional bank?
You know
were
what?
You funded by, I want to continue with something. Were you funded by a traditional bank?
Both.
Okay.
That's why in answering the question, I did not want to mention. I just said funders because it is actually cuts across the board. I'm sorry to say it does. I did mention I did mention banks, but it cuts across the board. The truth is, I don't have a prime minus. To me, I don't have.
Yeah, and the challenge there is
before before I even get to the oil core. That's why I was very specific. I wanted to answer a question on funding. I understand the value. We're going to go to the value, and I've got it as a point here of a bit of a sore point. Valuation it is. But for now, I just want to say the funders are not in the field. They are not. They are not giving me prime minus. And I'm saying, what happened to prime minus when I took over? Where is prime minus? And I don't think it's you to me that is able that would be able to really answer this question for us. If the funders are not here to say we are going to change and allow you to be prime miners. If they were able to give it to someone else before, why are they not giving it to me?
And I think the way a business proposal is packaged is quite critical for you to stand your ground in saying, I deserve a prime minus in a particular bank. Ramping up oversight is very important. When you're acquiring an existing site that is already pumping or has demonstrated volumes of 500,000 liters, it is easier to state your case. In a new site, remember, we need to take into consideration the ramp-up phase. So your funding model is fixed, that from the day we disperse those funds, and for the duration of your contract, which is another topic altogether in terms of the valuation of the site versus the tenure that is allocated to it, which is another area that needs to be looked at. But the ramp up is not taken into consideration. So if your repayment plan requires you to pay 200,000 rands every single month with whatever interest on it, you're expected to pay that from the first month once those funds are dispersed. And yet your business is still ramping up. You have not even pumped 100,000 liters. You have not even gotten to the ultimate threshold or the envisaged literage that the site was earmarked to pump. So a lot of things really need to be looked into, and funding models need to be developed specifically to understand and to cater to this industry.
Well, thank you, Dumi, for answering that part of the question, and also thank you, Zonke, for giving us the realist talk when it comes to funding. I mean, it's true what you're saying, that it's a system that still needs more collaboration in terms of understanding exactly what is a new dealer coming in needing for success. We need to still have this conversation quite a lot until we get it right. And I think just before we go to Nomfundo, I just want to say that I was thinking about it this morning, that male-dominated industries are not male-dominated because they were the best at it. True. It's because the system favored them to be able to enter. There were no barriers for them. So that's why it's male-dominated. It's not because they are good at it and they'll be the best at it. Even now, those limitations at the threshold that you were talking about, Dumi, it's not because we can't handle Tembisa. We can handle Tembisa. So Nomfundo, how did you do it? It's still fresh in your mind.
Yeah, I'm glad Uzonke has said quite a lot, because that's where I am as well. Why are we not given the same take in terms of the funding? And with the funding as well, you get. I'm talking from the experience that I had last year with the unrest. My site was looted and I was not working for about 4 weeks. But the bank still wanted their money to be paid fully. I mean, were they not part of the whole of South Africa that was looking and seeing how business were affected? Where the funders, where's the heart, call it, of the funder that says, this is what has happened to my client, because we are their clients. We are bringing the revenue into that business. Why can't they say, my client is going through this, and maybe this is how we should structure her repayment after she's gone through so much? This is just me saying. But no, the funders still need their money exactly as you have signed your agreement when things were okay. But now things are not okay. And on the other thing, with the funding, a lot of people right now, we're selling their businesses based on pre-COVID times. Times have changed. Business have changed. If you've taken a business through during COVID times, things are not the same. You're not getting the same people onto your site as before COVID. People are co-sharing transport right now. People are taking different kinds of transport to work. People are working from home as at now. And you can't base your funding to pre-COVID times. Times have changed. And I think funders also need to look into that. You struggle a lot now trying to work your business to pump pre-COVID. You struggle so much now to get your customers onto your forecourt because now people can phone and Uber Eats to get something for them. I'm sure sites, I've never seen a site where they are on Uber Eats. People are not in the space that they were pre-COVID times. Yeah. And you have to think out of the box now as a dealer in these times. And funding is an issue. And with that, the incumbent funds as well. Where if you're buying a 20 million rand business, that's a lot to take out to pay as an incumbent funds. And I think the banks should look at something else that they can support new and upcoming entrepreneurs, because where do you get those funds? Yeah. You get to do what Uzonke was saying. You take everything that you have accumulated as a family and you put into the business so that you can get this business that you want. But then how about your family part of things? Then it takes a sit back because now everything is focused on the business that you are buying as a business, and everything that you have to get into, the agreements that Zonke was talking about. Do you really have to get into all that? Mm-hmm. If you don't pay, I'm taking Nomfundo's house because she hasn't paid. Because Nomfundo's house has got nothing to do with Engine Higginson. It's a totally different contract. Why are funders doing all that? They really need to relook on how they structure what they give out there for people that are wanting to come into the industry, especially this industry that we're in, because you have to have a lot of funds. You really have to get a lot of funds. And banks really need to look into the pricing of petrol. I mean, you get into a business, you get given a facility that doesn't even cover one load of your core business that you're selling. Those are the things they really need to relook. Look at the fuel price at that moment when you're buying your business, and then remodel your funding according to your business. They don't need to have a blanket over. If you're into a fuel service industry, this is the blankets that we give you. No, each business is different, and they should really look into treating each business as an individual. Yes, I think, but Zonke has said a lot about the funding, which is really a stumbling block for people that are wanting to come in.
Yeah. Sure, thank you so much for that, Nomfundo. I mean, I've been seeing the comments on the chats as well that everyone totally understands and gets what you ladies are talking about. I think it's the onus is really on us now, and if my bosses, they can give me a thumbs up if the follow-up session should be with the funding institutions. Yes. Let's invite them and have this talk with them and let them answer these questions. How do we structure the financing of a dealer coming in for success and not for failure? True. I know the first part is the one of unencumbered funds is important because, at the end of the day, this is your business, you're investing in it, but it's not the family's business. And also the fact that you have to put in all your heart and tears and sweat and into funding the business. I think we definitely need to look at that, and I think I've seen a thumbs up from my boss there to have that follow-up session with the finance institutions. So my second question is for you, Zonke and Nomfundo as well. So this question, and we just now we're talking about how if the business fails and your house is attached to it. How important is the role of your family in this whole journey? When you are starting, when you are navigating the challenges, and please let us in onto how you guys did it.
I think I would like to take this opportunity to just appreciate and thank, tribute to my husband, who is no more. But for me and my family, it firstly meant separation, him staying in Durban and me coming up to Joburg, Pretoria, with the kids. It meant me waking up. Okay, how I was trained was, my engine was like, would you allow your Volvo to be received? Would you go and take ownership of your Volvo and give it to someone else to go and collect it? That's the value of the fuel. So that was quite an interesting training model, or parable of how important it is to make sure that when the fuel is received, it's received correctly. So for the very few months whilst my husband was in Durban and I was with the kids, the kids had to understand that mom is not available, and they had to support. They had to come and stay in the car whilst I was doing shift change in the morning. Mind you, remember, when you come into this business, one of the things, especially because it was a brand new site, no manager, nothing, I was the person, I was the dealer, I was the manager. So again, to save money, over and above the fact that it was a good learning platform for me to be able to manage future businesses that I still look forward to having, is that the kids had to go through that present absent mom. And then later on, or on weekends, my husband, when he was around, he would come and change shifts, and then I will kind of be able to take some time out. Your special occasions like your Christmases, take the kids to grandma. No, they didn't have a choice, but I think I just want to say to my kids, that I thank them, if it wasn't for them understanding, whether they understood or not, but if it wasn't for them, I didn't ask for their permission. They just knew that they had to come and stay with me in the car. I will go and pick them up late and come and drop them off or whatever. So the support of family is really critical. For me, I'm a very independent woman, I believe. And for me, it was one of my first moments of saying to husband, you know what, I don't have money in my bank account. Can you please pay for my car? And it was a humbling moment, but not in a bad way. But, just when you are so independent that debit orders just go through your account, you're not even conscious that, pay for the car. But he was there to pay for the car. And then all of a sudden, by the way, moving from Durban to Joburg was that we needed to now buy a house. And guess what? Zonke's income does not count, because Zonke has got to have financial statements that are audited, that are profitable, and the business was not profitable for the first year. All of a sudden, now my husband, it was literally just his salary and his pay slip that could buy us a house. So I'm saying the role of family support is critical. Do count on them. Do make them aware that you need them, because without them, I'm not saying it will not happen, but there will be some challenges that you will not be able to just go through the storms alone.
Your own.
And my helper had to rise up and become almost like a mom. And just as well, I came with her from KZN, and she's still here with me even now. So the long and short of it, family, do try as much as possible to get them to be part of the journey that you are embarking on, because one way or another, it's going to impact on them.
Thank you, Zonke. Nomfundo,
Very true, Zonke. What you've said, it's exactly what we're going through as a family as well. We're from Richards Bay. My husband still works 9 to 5 in Richards Bay. For the first time in our lives, we had to live separate lives. He stays in Richards Bay. I'm in Durban. And a lot of things you've said, they just tick my boxes, because I also needed to have a place to stay in Durban, and I didn't have a pay slip to get that bond, and he had to come in to do that. And yes, kudos to him for the support. He now has 2 jobs all of a sudden. When he comes over the weekends, he sits in my office and I tell him, I need to do this. Tell me how do I do this? Please look at this, because I'm not sure whether I'm on the right path. So the support is very important. And fortunately for me, I have my eldest daughter as part of my team. She's my manager on site, and I'm grateful for her, because if it wasn't for her, I don't know whether I'll be still standing, because you need somebody to lean on, and you need somebody as dedicated as you are, because that's a 24-hour work and 365 days. There's no holidays. When it's holidays, you don't even plan for Christmas, for Easter. You hear people talking about those things and you think, wow, they are privileged, because you don't have space for that. So it takes away a lot of things from your family, because now you're living 2 lives. And at the same time, you're not doing things together as you used to as a family. Now, everybody has to sacrifice for the new baby, which is your business, that everybody is in there. So you really need the support. As you say, even your helper at home becomes the mom of the house. My helper always complains that you don't come and see us. We haven't seen you. If we want something now, you send somebody else to bring stuff for us. Those are the things that you get into. Even my son, fortunately, my son is in boarding school. I thank God that I pushed my husband to allow him to go to boarding school, because if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I would be, because sometimes I don't even know what he doesn't have as part of his uniform when he goes back to school. My helper comes in to say he came back with 2 pens instead of 3 pens. He needs another pair of pens. He needs this. That's when everybody comes together to make sure that the whole business is a success. It's not you alone as a dealer, and it's not because we are females. It's got nothing to do with that, but because we have all these roles that we play. We are mothers, we are wives, and we are bosses at the same time. You always have to look and say, is this done? Is this ticked? Is this happening? So as I say, I'm very fortunate myself, because my daughter is there. When I need time off, at least I know she's there, and she's also so dedicated now. She can see that, oh, this is how this whole business runs, and she's taken into it, because if it wasn't for that, I really would have struggled, because you can't balance everything alone. You really need the support of everybody. And thanks to COVID, because she was planning to go overseas after she finished her master's, and she wanted to go explore life, and then COVID happened, and I said, okay, COVID, are you playing into my space now? And then I sort of set it down to say, look, this is where we are. Fortunately, I'm getting this business. Would you like to come and just assist me for a month or so? Yeah. And 18 months, she's still there, and she's so dedicated, and I'm so grateful for her to be there. And she's learning the ropes as well, because in the future, she'll never know whether she will want to go into business. And this is a stepping stone for her, which was a stepping stone for me with my father when he had his own service stations, because he sort of threw me into the deep end to swim on my own. And as Zonke says, when a new business opens up, because I was fortunate to be part of his business, a new site altogether, and the mornings where you have 6 o'clock, you're there to do shift change, you're there to run around the whole day. So it sort of gives you an idea of what this business requires of you. It doesn't matter whether you're female or you male, but you need to have dedication and passion, and that's where you see the success after you've put in the work that needs to be put in. So yeah, support system is very important.
Thank you so much for that. I think it's encouraging to hear that you can actually have it both ways. I think for the longest time, even for you, Dumi, we know that even in our careers, in order to be successful in your career, we thought that you couldn't have a partner. You had to man up basically. So it's nice to hear that even in business, you can have it both ways. You can have your family and have the same sacrifices that men have done to be successful in the business. I want to go to the second question, which I think is also, you've probably covered some of it, the role of a mentor. And this goes for all the ladies, because even in our careers, we do also need mentors. What do you think, what is the role of a mentor in this industry? And what is your view? And how would we go about to finding mentors in this industry? I'll start with you, Zonke.
Yeah. Firstly, I think for me is just a point of admission that it's a very unique industry.
Yeah.
It's a very unique business. Don't take it for granted that I'm just buying a business. It's too different. So whether you understand business or you know business and you've been taken through Petroconnect Readiness Program, which really kind of, especially when you take the candidates to sites, I think they really see what really happens there. They begin to appreciate a cashier work. They begin to appreciate an attendance work. That is the only way that's for me, that's the reality of a service station. And secondly, now that you know the reality, and it's so different from your corporate life, probably even to me, if she would ever want to run a site, as much as she knows how to run a site, because she actually is on the other side. But when she goes in there, and run a site, it's going to be a totally different ball game. For the first time, she will see the oil core company for who they are, and the role that she played then, and the new role. Role switch. Great thing to me. Please take it up and let me know. So to answer the question, I think you do need a mentor. How do you identify one? To be honest with you, I would not apologize for this one. Please look for a mentor that is in the industry.
Yeah.
I cannot see any other person mentoring me in this industry, but someone that has been a dealer. A dealer. It's not the bank. It's not even the oil core that's going to mentor you. They will come for their standards and regulations and all of these things that they know they need to have, they need to do, tick the boxes, which is good, which is great. But the person that's going to take you on a day-to-day basis, my first experience was, I had been trained on how to run day end, but I realized after 5 days that I had 5 days of work without ever running a day end. That was my first experience of being without a mentor in this site. But the other side, the second one was easier because I was already in the business. But the role of a mentor in this industry is critical, and I would guide a person that wants to go into it to look for a person that's in the industry. That's one. The one thing about mentoring, though, which is very interesting, is that it is always going to be dependent on the candidate, if I may put it that way. It will be dependent on the person taking on the site to raise their hands and say, I don't understand. I don't know. Help me.
Yeah.
I will not it's very difficult to come and impose and say, can I see your bank balance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you can trust me enough, that's why mentoring, that's why a mentor is very easy if you choose a mentor yourself. Sorry, that's going to help you a lot. So a mentor, the reason a mentor, I think for me is critical is also because you must rather choose the mentor, because it won't be easy for you can't just lay your life out there to every person. But a mentor, when you choose your own mentor, trust that mentor that whatever it is that she's going to say or guide, it will be for your benefit. Be open enough. So the choosing of your mentor must be really from you, and be open enough and just know that I can cry and say, I don't understand, and someone will be there to actually take you through. But it's going to always remain with the mentee, because it becomes very difficult to just force yourself on someone. But the importance of a mentor is critical in this business. And a mentor in this business, I would highly recommend, a person that has exposure in running a site.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Zonke. I totally believe that it has to be someone who is within the industry, who understands fully what a dealer goes through. Zonke, what are your thoughts on this matter?
For me, Zonke is right. For me, it is very important to have somebody like that. When I was appointed for my site, I told myself, I know you go through the oil companies training where you go for 3 weeks and you get overloaded with stuff that you have to take notes and all that. But when you're on site physically, it's totally different. All those notes, they go out of the window because now you're in there and it's hands-on. It's so good when you want to come into this industry. Go to any site that is running, that you see close to your area. Speak to the dealer there. Allow them to, if they allow you to be part of them on a daily basis, to go in there and just see how a site is run on a daily basis. From morning till afternoon, what happens when this happens? What happens when they receive petrol? What happens when CIT comes? What happens when you load those dips that you take and the readings that you take on a daily basis? What is the impact of every information that you gather in your site? Because that will give you an idea on what you have to put into when you're on site. And a mentor is very, very important when you're in this business. I mean, I walked into a person that I've never spoken to, a dealer that didn't know me from anything. And I just decided I'm going to go to him and say, look, I've just been offered this service station, and I've been out of this business for about 7 years. I just need training. Can I shadow you on a daily basis? And he said, no, sure, come. I was there for 2 months, and I think that helped in me getting to my site after that. And even now, when I have problems, he's just a phone call away. I say, look, I'm stuck here, because you can't know everything. I'm stuck here. How do I do this? Don't be afraid to ask. Knowledge is power. Don't be afraid to go out there and get that mentor. Don't be afraid to say you do not know, because when you hide and stay in your shell and you don't have information, that will actually impact on your business. Get somebody that will guide you. I mean, this dealer I'm talking about, he stays in Richards Bay, but I asked him this other time, just come to my site, spend time and see whether we're on the right path. He took his time and came to my site for 2 days just to make sure that we're on the right path. We've got everything going. That's what you need. That's what you need to make sure that your business is profitable, that you are doing everything right, because there are people that have walked this path before you and they know exactly what's happening. As Zonke has said, you need somebody that's been a dealer, the person that is in the same shoes as you are, that know the challenges on a daily basis.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nomfundo, for that. There's a statement that Zonke said that she sent to me. She said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I think she was meaning that the people that are here are the students, and they are ready, and the mentors are now here. They've availed themselves. I want Tumi, please also just touch on this, because we're still in our careers. We're still. I'm not sure if you're going to take up the offer of being reversing the role, but also just give us your encounter with mentors in your career in the fuel resale industry, because I can imagine as how the industry is set up, you need to also have mentors in this industry to be able to move up to acting head of retail South Africa.
So I definitely concur with the ladies that you need as much support as you possibly can get. I have been fortunate in my career that in my previous life, I had an unofficial mentor, sponsor, coach that I actually did not realize this was the role that they were playing up until I actually decided to formalize it. And in my current capacity, I was fortunate enough to be elected as part of the ULP Executive Leadership Program, where I've been allocated a mentor and a coach for 2 years. I'm actually on my second year. So I had a coach from Spencer and Stewart, which is an executive headhunting organization. And his function was to guide me on a day-to-day basis. On the job, there's targets that we would put in place. It's really performance driven. What is it that you want to achieve? When do you want to achieve it? And what are the various channels that you can explore? And the role of my mentor, and she's quite a very senior executive within the petroleum industry, is someone who looks at this program probably from a holistic nature, not just my career development, but overall Boitumelo's development and how she can actually live a balanced life. And that's something that you definitely, I felt I needed, as we navigate, because the more senior you become, I leave the office at 8 o'clock on average on a daily basis. I travel quite a lot. I have a 4-year-old daughter. Wow. So life is quite demanding, and a perspective from someone who has walked the journey, whether they're in a related or unrelated industry, for me, from a professional point of view, I don't think it's really neither here nor there. But what is important is just that support and the guidance and the wisdom that they impart in terms of how can you try and live a balanced life. So I think, both support of a coach and a mentor are quite critical. From a career perspective, particularly in the petroleum space, it's still very much male dominated. We have female leaders who have literally steered this ship in terms of driving the diversity and inclusivity of females, the likes of Priscilla Mabelane, who was our previous former CEO at BPSA. Her intention of driving transformation within the fuels retail industry is very deliberate and it's intentional. And it goes to show that, the females that she has appointed or surrounds herself with or identifies in different platforms, she really elevates them. And it's the onus for us to also continue elevating others as we also progress and proceed in our careers. So support is very important all around.
Thank you, Tumi. I'm mindful of our time, so I'm just going to take a few questions from the audience. If you have any for Tumi, for Zonke and Nomfundo, please, Richard, just allow them to. We'll start with Stelo Masinga. Hi, Stelo. I feel like I'm on radio. Hi, Stelo, you're on the line.
Hi, morning everyone. Thank you very much for such an informative engagement. I don't think I have any questions, and yeah, it's actually showing us that it's a steep mountain that we have to climb, especially when it comes to transformation. As a male, I'm listening to the ladies and I'm hearing the challenges that they face, and I'm thinking perhaps we are not that different, although maybe it might be more emphasized on their side. So yeah, quite an informative system. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stelo, for that. The next, I'm not wearing my glasses, Richard. Najma Malik. Hi, you can go ahead and comment or a question.
Hi, good morning. Firstly, I want to say thank you very much. I am so glad that I have attended this webinar, because the lessons that I've learned is, sure, it's invaluable. I am a new appointee. I'm not in my site as yet. I'm waiting for my retail license. So that's where I am at the moment. But I just wanted to comment, and maybe somebody can answer. Establishing the value of the site was for me a challenge, because if you go by EBITDA, the previous the sellers of the site, they showed a loss in the previous year. But people do, they make magic with the numbers for tax purposes, and you all know what I'm referring to. So when it comes to establishing the value of the site, you've got to go to management accounts and all sorts of things and really scratch. And because then they give you, this is what we want. But if you go by the audited financial statements, that doesn't that doesn't warrant the price that they're asking. So I would like to know, what are the oil companies doing in that regard to ensure that buyers are buying at the right price? Because that was the one thing. And then the other thing was the mentors. I have somebody who has been in the fuel industry for more than 20 years. He has had one of the most successful sites in Cape Town, in the Western Cape. And he has offered me that he will assist. And initially I thought, it's nice to have him in the background. When I start, he will be there so I can. But this session has proven to me that he cannot just be in the background. I have to engage with him, and I have to sit with him and ask him to play a very important role when I do take over. But ladies, to those of you who have been in the industry for so many years, well done. And thank you once again for sharing your experience with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Najma, for your comment. I know, ladies, do you want to respond to that?
I think the valuation methodology is probably an oil co-specific question, and alludes to some of my statements that I mentioned earlier on, that the onus should be on the oil company facilitating that entire process, right? Because we know that retailers can be very adventurous when it comes to their financials. There has to be a process that is followed by the oil companies, because if I am going to appoint you as my retailer, I was not involved in the valuation of the business. You have now gone and taken up a loan for 10 million for a site that pumps 100,000 liters. Do you understand that you are going to be, for a lack of a better description, my burden? Because I was neglectful in the entire process. I could have played an instrumental role in saying, you're overpaying for the site. This is not the true value that you should be paying. Oil companies need to go through those audited financials, or at least put the process out there for the potential incoming retailer to say, follow this process and you will get to the true evaluation process, because in interfering in a willing buyer, willing seller, and that's where we get the pushback. But it's very important for the oil company to facilitate and guideline. It's the right thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do. And in that way, you're going to be building future retailers that are going to be operating successful businesses. Anyone who's exiting a business wants the best value that they possibly can. This industry being very technical and complex, it's easy to pull wool over someone's eye and tell them this is the value of the business. And they really do manipulate their financials, you know. So when the oil company is not there to walk this process, and then it becomes a problem for everyone, for the funder, because funders will want their money back. For the retailer, most importantly, who is bearing this heavy burden of this debt, and for the oil company who's not realizing the profits that they're supposed to, and the site is not performing at the level that it should. So it is a collective effort, and oil companies, involve your oil companies. When you've identified, guys, the site that you like to pursue, involve oil companies. Sibonela and I have been through it with Mark, these conversations, and we've butted some heads, you know, in the past. But it was all in the aim of how do we assist the retailer? How do we ensure that the person that's going out and the person that's coming in get the true value of this particular asset that they're taking over, you know? So it is very important that you engage the oil company to say, is this the true value that I'm actually paying for this particular site? Trying to rectify it after the cause is going to be a fruitless exercise, because we're all stuck with a low pumping site with a low margin throughput, and you've got a high debt that you need to service.
Thank you, Tumi. Nofundo, do you want to add to that?
Yeah. Tumi is right, and you find some dealers as well that are selling their businesses. They have a sort of, they've got people in mind that they want to sell to, as much as they want to get as much from the sale of the business, but then they cut off the other people that are wanting to come into the business. And you get a site that is not pumping that much. It's so overpriced, and the oil company is saying no, but it's a willing seller, willing buyer. They don't want to intervene and say no, but this is overpriced. And you find yourself as a new person that wanting to come in, not sure which way to go. You caught between a hard place and a rock, because you are really loving to come on board, you liking the business, but the numbers are just not doing justice. And you sit and you look, if I buy this business for 10 million, then it means when you're crunching the numbers, this is how much I'm supposed to fork out every month to pay for the business. Will I be able to do it? So all companies really need to be on board, as Tumi is saying. They really need to be on board and say to dealers. Some dealers are doing that on purpose. Some they don't want to come out if the leases come to an end, and they don't want to come out, so they'll think, I'll just overprice my business, and whoever wants to buy will come in. Those who can't afford, they can just stay away. Yeah. So it sort of limits the basket that is out there that are wanting to come in, because now the entity is overpriced, and you still have a lot that you need to have into going into the business. So it is really, really important for the oil companies to partner with the new coming dealers.
Yeah. What I'm hearing and getting from this is that know the numbers, understand the numbers as well. Yeah. When you read them, be able to interpret them, and that's going to, going to be very important for us ladies as we go into the industry to let's familiarize ourselves with numbers, because I know even with the cash flows, those numbers are important. That's your Bible that you need to be living by. And if you don't understand the numbers, your accountant's going to come to you with the numbers and you think, oh, I'm good, let's go ahead. If you can't interpret them, you don't understand them, the next thing you've got SARS knocking on your doors. We've got another comment or a question, I think, from our Piwe.
Good morning, ladies, and thank you so much for this informative session. I just wanted to pose a question to the ladies. I actually put it in the comment section for a recommendation for a future topic, but I'm thinking now that we're still here, maybe we can engage on it. With respect to sites that are in townships and rural communities, you will find that sometimes you'll have, I'm going to say, owners of the area will then come up to you and request a protection fee. Has any of you ladies ever experienced that, and how did you go around dealing with that? Thank you.
That's a tough one. I think it's a difficult one, but you don't want to be involved in things like that. You really don't want to have to be in an area where you have to pay some fees for people that are not involved in your business. I think you need to get advice from other people. I've never had something like that myself, but I think if you start paying those fees to those people, then that basket will grow very quickly, because other people will know that you are paying so and so, and they'll also come with their demands and all that. So be very careful of those conversations and those agreements. Be very cautious and stay away from things like that. It's like you saying your political party outright in an area where you don't even know what's happening. So it's a no-go area for me. Ask some other people, maybe people that you trust, that will guide you in terms of that.
Thank you, Nomfundo. Zonke, did you want to comment on that as well?
Mrs. Nomfundo has mentioned, has summarized it well. I've never been exposed to it, to be precise to the question, so I wouldn't say much.
Right.
If I may ask, what is a protection fee? and what purpose does it serve?
Oh, it's extortion.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
But what are we protecting? What is the retailer trying to protect? I'm just trying to understand.
I think to me what okay. Go ahead, Piwe.
Okay. So usually what happens is you're going to be operating your business in an area where they feel that they are in charge, I guess. And so then they want to protect you from anything that can happen against your business. So then they charge you a protection fee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we are right in saying it's basically extortion, and it is a reality of the society that we live in.
Yeah.
And I think also sometimes people do take advantage of the fact that they know that the dealer is female. So obviously, yeah. So I do not think that it's. So do me?
Can I comment on the extortion fee? When you're buying a business, footsteps with its accounts, and the one thing you cannot confirm or have a guarantee on is the people that are currently utilizing your services, right? Depending on how you upkeep your business, depending on your value proposition, your offer, that will retain your customer base, or they will then find an alternative solution. Account customers should come with contracts, and that can't change, that it can't be changed. So, and the pricing mechanism, everything is locked into those contracts. Therefore, the other protection that I can only think of is probably public unrest that would be sparked by the person that is actually outgoing, in terms of just staging unnecessary unrest on sites. But from a business operational point of view, you should not need a protection fee, so long as what the site was offering, you maintain it at that level and standard, or you do more. And like I say, when you buy the business as it is, it comes with certain account customers depending on how large your account customer base is. And that comes with contractual obligations that just cannot be manipulated, easily.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't just fall prey to silly things that, people are trying to make a quick buck out of you.
Yeah. Ladies, we are over our time, and I think it is safe to say that we can wrap it up. I'm just going to get Nomfundo to give us some closing comments, Zonke and Dumi, and then we'll close the session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chaba. I think sessions like this should really be more and more out there, because you need this information. You need people in the industry that really comes together and share knowledge, because business is about knowledge. And platforms like this, people should really get into so that they know what's happening out there. Some people they have a thinking that if you in the fuel industry, you coining the money every day, because they think what the customer pays goes straight into your account, which is not. So this industry is an industry that needs your focus, and you need to be 200% into your business. You need to have nothing else that goes on into your life. You need to research and know exactly whether this is what you want to do, because it takes a lot of your time. And that support system that we were talking about, you really need to have that in place. So don't be alarmed by what we're saying. It's a business that is doable, ladies out there. Join us. It's a business that is doable. It's a business that you enjoy. You need to have passion for it. They say once you smell those fumes, you are set for life. You'll never go back. So come in, ladies, in numbers. We need to see a lot of Black ladies in this business. And good luck.
Thank you, Nomfundo. Zonke?
Yeah, no, thank you very much to you, Petroconnect. Mr. Chaba, thank you for handling the whole discussion. And to Petroconnect, we are saying thank you so much for availing the platform, where we can actually engage. I don't know if I was speaking to you, Mr. Chaba, or someone else, where I was saying this person was talking about if we should celebrate women, is Women's Month important? And I thought to myself, shucks, man, the life of a woman is important, not a month. So we are grateful, though, that Petroconnect saw this opportunity to benefit the society that we're living in. And it's been an engaging and a very robust, truthful discussion, which is what I've really enjoyed. Thank you to Dumi being there on the other side, representing the oil co, and really saying the truth of what is some of the things that are missing in the value chain. From my side, honestly, it's I wouldn't be in this business for the past 20 years, going for 21, as in like next month, if it wasn't a profitable business. It's from a zero pumper to whatever it is pumping now, to acquiring another service station through this very service station that I'm in. don't. The only thing that I say, honestly speaking, in advising people out there, no, not advising you. It's a very just camp. My comment would be, don't fall prey. And I think that is basically where we are kind of caught up right now. We are fixed. We are in some corner of some sort of wanting to own a site, of the wrong, incorrect pricing, and an outgoing dealer that can almost, stop you or stop anybody else, including the oil companies sometimes, from appointing any dealer that knows, or any dealer that doesn't know, but that wants that's a new entrant. So I think the scope has got to be opened wider. My question is going to just be, not question, but my closing comment is, banks, finances, give us the same thing that you used to give other people. Oil companies. Oil companies, for me, I will say what Dumi has just said. I will say, can the valuation be proper? Can the valuation be true? And can the valuation just really, really give? If you cannot, speak to that Mr. So-and-so and tell him that your business is really not worth this. It is not really not worth this. And I think for me, Petroconnect, I just want to say thank you, because I know you do valuations, and it's people that have been in the industry. So they really know, they can see through some figures than other people that have never operated a service station. So to Mark and Sponello, thank you so much, because I know you own sites yourselves, and therefore you know how to read and interpret the value of the site. And I think for me, that is what it is. And we should be all together to build each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Zonke. Dumi?
Firstly, I would like to thank Petroconnect and yourself, Master Chaba, for being such an awesome facilitator. Thank you for the platform, and thank you for inviting me to come and share the little knowledge that I have gained, over my years in petroleum. And I'd like to commend the two ladies, Usis Nomfundo and Usis Zonke. You guys are doing an awesome job, and you are the example that we really want to show the rest of SA that it can be done. There is no age or time limit to it, and you operating prominent sites with prominent brands, getting accepted to own an engine site or any of the oil majors. It's a long and tedious process. And also to make a success of it, So you guys are the example that, we really want to showcase that, guys, it is possible. And it is through what you guys are sharing that we can learn how to improve better, how we can make for the future generation easier for them to access this industry, reduce the barriers to entry, and really fight a worthy cause, in terms of how can we really make it, because we still have a long lifespan within the petroleum industry. So thank you very much, guys. And to all our esteemed guests on the line, I wish you all the best. I think a lot of insights have been shared on this platform, but just a few things that I want to, leave you with, that this is a business that requires 24/7, 365 attention. It is a high volume, low margin business, meaning for you to actually make the profits that you want to realize, you have to be on site, on board, understanding your business. It is very technical, and I continue saying this, and I will never stop emphasizing it, because I have seen people who, after operating 5 to 10 years, still fail because of thinking you have mastered the business. You know, theft comes in different ways. You can, you know, experience theft from your own staff, from a BVO, a driver that's delivering your fuel. It can come in different ways, but you have to understand your business, and always just, you have to interrogate everything. Never take anything for granted. If something does not make sense to you, the value of a site, approach someone, Petroconnect, to understand, to unpack it for you, to say, you know, this site seems to be a good site, it's doing well, but for the price that they're asking for, it just does not make sense, you know. And most importantly, put the onus back on the oil companies to be as involved as they should, as they need to be, because the performance and success of all retail businesses that are operating out there is a direct representation of the oil companies and the support that they give you. The support should just not end at onboarding, but it has to be ongoing throughout. So the strategic partnerships with the likes of Petroconnect and DFIs or FSPs should be driven by them to make sure and to give you the platform of enablement. But all the best, good luck. Should anyone want to chat, I am I don't know why I'm saying this, but I am available for some guidance. But you're gonna have to go through Petroconnect first. I'm more than willing to share the little knowledge that I've gained over the years. But I wish you all the best.
Wow, thank you so much, ladies, for gracing us with your presence today. I know as dealers, as a head of a whole department, there were quite a lot of things that you could have been involved in today, but you took the time. We've run over, but you're still here. You haven't rushed off. So we're really grateful as Petroconnect for your presence and the engagement. I think it was quite insightful. I know that everyone who attended today has definitely learned something new, or understands a bit better the industry that they are currently in or that they want to enter into. I cannot close by not saying that I do expect each and every one of you who hasn't done the Readiness Program to enroll for the upcoming trainings that we have. We do have a Readiness Program coming up in October, on the 17th of October. So if you're really still interested after all the comment what you've heard today, and you're still interested and you still want to join the Readiness Program, please do so. This Connect webinar recording will be available on our YouTube channel, so please look out for that. It will also be on our website, so you can also just visit our website to get to go over it again and take more notes if you need to. We will go through all the comments and we'll share them with the panel as well, and some of the questions that maybe we haven't covered today. My emails are open as masachaba@petroconnect.co. My boss wants to say something. He has his hand up. He wants to say lunch is on him.
Hi, ladies. I thought because I could hear the speakers, I think one of the common questions is, what are you doing? What are you doing? But that was directed mostly to the oil companies. But I think as Petroconnect, we also have a role to play. And if there's any woman who is on the line right now and who wants to join the next Readiness Program, it's quite costly. It costs 25,000 Rand. But if you are here, and we will have to check the attendance, and you want to join, I'm happy to give a discount of 10,000 Rand. So you can actually pay 15,000 Rand to join the next Readiness Program. But you've got to be an attendee. It's not extended to somebody who has not attended this particular program.
Wow.
Thank you for that, Bonela. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen who are on the line, I think we can call it a day for today. You have Velile's details if you want to reach out and be part of the program. Velile@petroconnect.co, masachaba@petroconnect.co. We are available to put you down for the next session that is on the 17th of October. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll play out with the Readiness Program just to give you a bit more details as to what is it about. You can stay on and log off afterwards. Have a lovely day further.